Good morning, everybody. How is everyone doing? Let's get the checking the audio out of the way and get to it. It is November 9th. So, hump day and mid-month almost. We're almost to the middle of November already. It's almost Turkey Day. I was just talking this morning. I said, I guess I'm going to have to go, round up a turkey and all that already. It's crazy. Good morning, Jeannie. Hello, Ya's daughter. To Boston Mom says, we can hear you. Well, thank God. I got Curtis backstage, so he did a mic check for me. He thought it was on his end, but actually I was muted. Go figure. Hello, Rockin' Robin. Hello, Kaleido Hope. Kate, Erica, Celeste. I heard a lot of people talking in here this morning, about cold weather. I hear there's a cold front coming through. I don't like that. It's actually mild here. I've got on shorts and a very nice dress shirt because I have a Zoom meeting to do right after this. Walking Dead, where you been, girl? Nanny, good morning. Hello, Radio Gaga. Muscles is here. Hello, DT. Texas Tiffany. Fancy Clancy. I haven't seen you in a while either. Everybody been hiding out. Nubian Max. Take It Easy. Cool name. Are you an Eagles fan? The band, not the football team. Bonnie has on slippers and a blanket. Jakey5 said, what is Turkey Day? Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's coming up in a couple of weeks. Joette said, I like this title. Debbie said, it's almost 11 p.m. in Australia. Damn, I would be asleep. Yeah, the title. We're back to Danny and the Nanny. And I mean the real Nanny, Diana. Not the fake nanny that they made up. Billy's been busy. Billy has time on her hands now that the protest got moved. I don't even know if it's still going on. It's not in front of her house. So we're doing everything we can to put the focus back on Danny. Of course, we're going to throw all the shade we can at Diana. Hello, Tiffany Crockett. All the shade we can. And it's not working because law enforcement still says that their prime suspect is Leilani. If Billy knew why, and I'm not saying that I know, I'm just going to take a guess that there's good reason. If Billy knew why, she would shit a brick. I like this law enforcement. I like the chief. I think he's very emotionally invested. I do. I think that he didn't do himself any favors by coming out and saying she's the prime suspect. Because, of course, people are going to scream and yell, well, then arrest her already. Well, then arrest her. Even though he said we're not ready yet, which means he doesn't have enough evidence. He doesn't come right out and say that. He just says she's the prime suspect. We don't go to jail around these parts because someone thinks we might have done something. Even in Billy's world. And Billy damn sure doesn't want that system or her ass would be sitting in jail. It is crazy. So yeah, I was going to show you this. Look at this picture. Now, I like watching all those shows about, you go to the Dollar Tree and you spend like $5 and you buy a bunch of crap and you come home and next thing you know, it looks like a nutcracker or a big old Frosty the Snowman. This is actually something I think I can make. Isn't that cute? Look at that garland. This is something that I can make. None of my crafts ever turn out good. But she took all of this different felt. I don't know where she got it, all the other stuff she bought. This is not my house, by the way. Cute house, super cute. Wouldn't that be so cute to make? Now, I skipped straight from Halloween to Christmas. If you know, you know. But I thought, how simple is that? So if any of you make that, I want to see it. Because some people, they decorate for Thanksgiving. I just came across that this morning when I was thinking about our Thanksgiving menu, which is the same as everybody else's. I mean, we have turkey and stuffing, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, rolls, all that stuff. And I saw that and I was like, But then that would mean I would have to take all the Christmas stuff down. Because yes, believe it or not, I've already got my Christmas tree up. I've already got my Christmas tree up. I've already got my stockings hung. I'm that person. I'm that one. So the last show we did on Quinton, I believe, was last Thursday. It was last Thursday because on last Friday, we had a members live, which was a hoot. It was awesome. I was so happy you guys were in here. We've talked a little bit about that insanity with Adventures with Purpose. I'm going to hit on that again either later this afternoon or tomorrow because there's some things I want to discuss. Spoke about Delphi yesterday, and without further ado, we got to get back to Quinton. Quinton was never on the back burner. Quinton was never on the back burner. Sometimes I have to take a deep breath from some of these cases. What am I on top of, Lala? Brooke says she's right on top of that, Rose. What am I on top of? Please tell me it's something fun. What are you roping me in on? Connie says she decorates for Thanksgiving. Well, I missed it. You guys have all the fun, not me. All right, so, no, I'm just kidding. I have a blast with you guys. I'm going to go through some comments from the last show, and we're going to talk about how we're trying to run the narrative again. You see, Billy is the Don Wells of this story. Kind of like old Jagger was with the Kylie Rodney case, which from what I'm understanding is still a very open investigation. Good to know. Oh, Bex, you have your tree up too? Bex is in my club. We need the Tree Before Thanksgiving Club. Who's in the Tree Before Thanksgiving Club? I'd love to know. Muscles is in it. Face of America is. It's a annoying yet fun club. Annoying yet fun club. But what I was saying is Billy is very much the Don Wells of this case. Billy was at work, like Don. Billy was not just at work, Billy was out of state. Yet Billy, who says whoever did this, whoever it is, whether it's her own daughter, which is the prime suspect, let's not forget that. Let's also not forget they're searching the local landfill. They forget that part. With all the bullshit they spew, and there's a ton of it. There's a ton of it. They always dance around that part. They always dance around the part where agents from Quantico, Virginia, specialized agents, they are specialized in landfill recovery, are in their local landfill looking for remnants, not even remains, of little Quinton. They always leave that part out. Does it not piss you off? Does it not piss you off? Because it does me. It is beyond sad. She's running the show. She's running the narrative. And if just a few people agree with her, all is good in her world. All is good in her world. I have a feeling that since the protest is not going on outside of her house, I believe it got moved down to the police station, the courthouse. I don't keep up with that part. She's probably not a happy camper. She liked the attention. She enjoyed it. She liked it. She did. All right, I'm going to get to some comments and bring our friend Curtis up. We're going to talk about how the accident theory came up again. It was even discussed on Court TV last night. All right. Love your comments. Love seeing you guys in chat. Love your emails. If I showcase your after show comment, send me an email. You'll know why. Brooks, have you noticed that the channels that normally only cover entertainment, the Duggars, Britney Spears, reality TV, are covering the case of baby Quinton? Well, no, I hadn't noticed, nor would I. I did take a gander around because she mentioned a few channels, and they are. Now, there's plenty of room at the true crime table. Don't get me wrong. There is nothing at all wrong with advocating for little baby Quinton. But it does tell me something. That something has gone very, very haywire and very, very wrong in this case. That it is such a circus, that it's more jaw-dropping and more shocking and more knee-jerking to talk about the family of a missing little baby than Britney effing Spears. Do you feel me? When the family of a missing baby is more of a soap opera than Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, Britney Spears, which one of the Duggars has pants on today at Chick-fil-A? That tells me this case has gone very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of room at the true crime table. So you have at it. Joe says, Brooks, protesting is free speech, and the ACLU said it's okay to protest. I know that. That's not a secret. That's not a secret. Nobody ever said that you can't protest. She said, what we need is Quinton's law that anyone who has a child and leaves them with an abusive parent, that person who has custody and the parent should go to jail. But there is a law for that. I have heard about Quinton's law several times in the last few weeks. The last few weeks is all we have because he's been missing a little over a month. Feels like a year. He went missing October 5th. We have that law. We have many, many, many laws. Problem is, Leilani and possibly Nanny and possibly Paul, because they were the three at home. Leilani, we know for sure she's the prime suspect. And Billy, out of town, who did not make sure that Leilani was not going to be left alone with Quinton. They broke those many, 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 many laws. I don't understand what's going on with this Quinton's law. I mean, are you just wanting to rename a law that's already on the books? I'm very confused about that. And I'm not putting this up because it's Jennifer Coffindaffer, because I really don't care. I'm just putting it up because she cites a law. She says right here a week or so ago, she says, excellent timeline concerning Quinton Simon. Law enforcement steadfastly working to bring the facts together to charge this case. Leilani is the person of interest, but Billy may have liability as guardian. Don't let Billy fool you that this was some sort of behind-the-scenes agreement with her and Leilani. She says it was civil. If it was just civil, then Billy would not have lost rights to Zane and Sky as well. These children are in foster care. They did not remain with Billy. They were also removed from Billy. They were removed from that home altogether. It goes without saying there's no way in hell they would have left the kids anywhere around Leilani. But there was no, Billy, you can have the children, but Leilani has to go. Anyway, here's a law. Actually, it's a whole, if you look it up, there's a lot of laws on this. And I'm not a lawyer. Okay? But you can look it up. BJ may have liability as a guardian under Georgia Code 1511-2F when she chose to leave Quinton with Leilani, knowing Leilani was unfit. So when people say we need a Quinton's law, I really need more specifics so we can discuss it, because there's laws out the ass. There's tons of laws for child protection. They broke them. Billy was not supposed to leave Quinton, Zane, and Sky alone with Leilani, who is unfit. I just don't know if Diana knew that. It's not Diana's responsibility, but it has been thrown that way. Well, then why did Diana drop them off? Diana wasn't the one in charge. I don't know the conversation between Diana and Billy, because Billy, or Diana and Danny, or Diana and Leilani, that she brought the 3 children home the night before and didn't keep them overnight. I've never heard. So I don't know. I've heard so many things that people want, that they say they want Quinton's law to be. And there's already tons of laws. Like I said, there's one on the screen. And don't get it twisted. Billy knows that somewhere on the horizon, of course, Quinton is way more important, but somewhere on the horizon, she could have her ass in a sling. She knows it. She knows it. She was texting with a friend and she said, I want Leilani and Danny to go to jail. She goes on to say, even if that means I go to jail. Well, who the hell would say that? Who would say that? Her friend says, you aren't going to jail. If you did, it wouldn't be that long, though. Why would she go to jail? Why would she go to jail? And even if she did, why would she only be there for a little bit? Why? We know why. And she knows it too, or she wouldn't have even brought that up. Even if it means I go to jail, you aren't going to jail. But if you did, it wouldn't be that long. And I better be on your list. So, we can talk back and forth. I can write letters. You can call me. So we're not talking about a night in the clink. We're talking about you could be in jail for a little bit. Wouldn't be that long. Could it have anything to do with Georgia Code 1511-2F? Could it be anything to do with that? So I need more of, I get what Joe is saying. We need Quinton's law that says this, but it's already on the books. It's already on the books. I know Billy wants a Quinton's law, but that Quinton's law is very disrespectful to Quinton. Very disrespectful to Quinton. Like I said, Billy was out of state when DFACS removed Zane and Sky. It was from the whole bunch of them, not just Leilani. There was no, "We're giving the kids to Billy. I know you guys had a civil agreement, but we're gonna go." No, 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 no. No. There's a reason that the kids aren't with Billy. Billy left the kids with an unfit Leilani. We know it. We can play pretend all day. We know it. Oh, it's insane. It's insane. Oh, I was going to wait and do this on another show, but you guys brought it up on the Facebook group the other day. Off topic, but I can't help it. My mind's all over the place. Casey Anthony has a 3-part series on Peacock that supposedly is not scripted, and she's going to answer anything that she's been asked. Well, I wonder what recent case resurrected that wench. Look at this.
Why talk to me now when you're not getting creative control?
I just threw up in my mouth. I just threw up in my mouth. Wonder what recent case brought that back up. Oh, wait. Could it be the woman in Savannah, Georgia, who has a similar relationship with her mom that Casey had with her mom, Cindy? Huh. Could it be the woman in Savannah, Georgia that says she can't remember anything because the FBI told her she didn't? Or her mom that swears this was an accident, yet her mom was in another state? Wow. I think we might have come up with something, guys. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Casey Anthony has been in the talks for years about doing this. For years. And she always backs out. She always backs out. Seems different now. Seems like quite a coincidence. Also in Quinton Simon news, a bad storm is coming. If you live in the area, bad storm's coming your way. Tropical storm. Is it going to be a hurricane? I don't know. Brett Buffington said the landfill search for Quinton Simon's remains will be suspended on Thursday, tomorrow, and resume Monday of next week as coastal Georgia prepares for what will likely be a tropical storm Nicole arriving Friday. Now let's prepare ourselves for people to come unglued and say, but what about baby Quinton? Can't find baby Quinton when a tropical storm's coming through. I will say this. My uneducated guess says after the tropical storm comes through, it's gonna be even harder to find him. Way to go, Leilani. Way to go, Leilani. Somebody on Twitter, because some of us don't pay very good attention, tweeted back to Brett Buffington, taking off for the holiday makes sense. And he says they're not taking off for the holiday. There is a tropical system that is forecast to be over Savannah this weekend. So he cleared that up for anyone thinking that they are just massive patriots and wanted to take off for Veterans Day and go see a couple parades. He cleared that up. It is not about a holiday. It is about a tropical storm. It can't get any worse. It cannot get any worse. Also, if you attend any local churches in Savannah over the weekend, Billy did go to church. Her YouTube handle is Nana's Love, and she said, I'd like to I'd like to share the message from church today. I did check the local news in Savannah. I did not see that any churches burned down, no lightning strikes or anything like that. But Billy, according to her, attended church. She said, I'd like to share the message from church. I haven't been able to go with everything being so crazy. I'm so happy I got to go to church today. When pottery is broken, it can be pieced back together. Sometimes pottery is put back together with gold, which makes it more valuable. When our lives are broken and all in pieces, it feels like things can't be put back together. God pieces us back together with gold. He renews and repairs all the broken pieces, therefore making us more valuable. All we have to do is look up. I cried because I'm broken. My pieces feel thin. So I prayed looking up, and I know God is a healer. I know what he does because he's done it for me over and over. God bless and thank you all for the words of encouragement. Well, it doesn't work that way, Billy. You see, what's in pieces right now is little Quinton Simon. He's in the landfill. You yourself, Billy No Graham, said my daughter done it. They think he's in the landfill. But you skip that part all the time. Why would he be in the landfill? All we can come up with is some drug-induced accident. That's all we can come up with. That's all we got. A drug-induced accident. Didn't want to get ourselves in trouble. So we covered it up, but they don't say how. And they act like since it was a drug-induced accident, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. You do stupid shit when you're fucked up, she said. Well, Curtis was there, not recently. Little Quinton went missing on a Wednesday. Curtis was there over the weekend. A lot of people said, why would they just let someone walk up? Well, as we know, they'll let anybody around them. Billy will answer anybody on Facebook. She'll talk to anybody. She'll sit in her front yard as people are screaming, where's your baby? I'm not saying any of it's right. I'm just saying Billy never met a stranger, if you know what I mean. She's a friendly gal. Let's see what Curtis has been up to. What's up, Curtis?
Not a whole lot.
So, I don't know how much you've been keeping up with all of this, but we're back to maybe they never left it. I don't know. We're back to Danny Island, where Danny did this. Danny is part of the cover-up from an accident. So I wanted to bring you up and ask you what you think about all the recent things that have gone on and how we're spinning the narrative to Leilani's a prime suspect. They've never said a prime suspect in an accident, correct? Has anyone ever heard prime suspect in an accident?
I haven't.
No. Prime suspect. I guess we need some clarification on that. Prime suspect. So now what are you making of that? The chief has never mentioned any broken pottery that's going to be put back together with gold. All we've heard, Leilani's the prime suspect.
I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, if you're going to church and everything, why don't you just go ahead and have your whole family admit everything that's going on? Turn yourself in. I haven't really been keeping up with it a whole lot, except for what I've been listening to you on your broadcast, because I don't watch TV or anything. No local, no nothing.
Now let's go back to you were there a couple of days. You dropped in. You were there to help the family with a missing child, little Quinton, who's still missing. And they went into the story about on the app, it showed that the doors were open, not the ones that they go outside of the smoke, but other doors. Did they ever that day mention Danny?
No. Only thing it said was that the only thing that was said at that point was the older brother. For some reason, it's on his. He has control of it or something of the app, and he's the one that brought it to the attention out there that the door was open from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m.
See, and they told you 5 a.m., but now they're getting more specific, saying 5:44 a.m. Okay, why 5:44 a.m. when you told Diana at 5:39 you wouldn't need her to babysit that day?
I can only I guess you can only guess what everybody else is guessing.
Oh, yeah. Now, I just wonder because, like I said, when you talk to them and they made sure to let you know, or whoever was around, how many people were around the first day?
Several. There was Leilani, Danny, Billy, Tommy, the two brothers, the younger brother, the older brother, a couple of other people, the dark-headed, little older. I'm saying older. She's old. She's probably older than I am. That was in a picture with her posted the other day. Great grandparents.
Billy's parents or Tommy's?
I'm gonna say Billy's parents, most likely. Older gentleman, bearded.
But Danny was there. How was Danny acting?
Danny and Leilani had no how do you describe it? Like nothing was really going on. There was no crying, no upsetness. The only time, like I said before, was I seen when the app of the alarm was mentioned. You kind of seen them just flinch a little bit at each other or something. I seen, and then she or they, either Leilani and Billy, I think it was both of them, was leaving in that white truck. Everybody was talking about to take some stuff to where the children was being taken to, and somebody said something, and she said, "Well, you lost Quinton, now me too," or something to that effect.
Leilani said, "You lost Quinton, now me too." Who was she talking to?
There was a crowd right there up under the carport that you see in the picture behind the fence where the travel trailers parked under. There was several people sitting up under there. Possibly to Billy, if I remember. And then, and I know it kind of really hit Tommy, and he went towards them. I followed him, and I told a couple of other people, "Hey, this might get bad. Follow me." And when he got to the truck, it got a little hairy. He was like climbing under the truck and stuff. Out of all of them, the most, I think, who's hurt the most is probably Tommy, from what it showed.
I have been wondering about that because he seemed, now the first news clip I saw of Billy and Tommy, Billy was real. She was fit to be tied. She said, sometimes my daughter does real good, sometimes she does real bad. I don't know what to think anymore. That was raw and real. And I was like, man, this woman's going to be going through a lot. I had no idea. Anyway, Tommy, he was the one that just said she just lies. She just lies and lies and lies all the time. A lot of couples, and it's very sad, don't survive. Their relationship can't survive um, the loss of a child or something this major in their relationship. Billy is not the through thick or thin type. I will be very surprised if they're together this time next year. So you say that he was very sincere.
Yes. I mean, the whole time while I was there, like you said, she was fit to be tied. She was crying, upset, and everything. But Tommy, Tommy was pretty pissed. I mean, he was too. Like, I don't even want them taking that truck. Da 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 da. I mean, like I said, I wrestled Tommy a little bit to try to make sure nothing happened. And he's a little bit bigger than I am, but um, to me, if somebody didn't know anything of it, it would be Tommy.
He was out of town as well.
I think he was over in Carolina, possibly Allendale or something, maybe. Um, and I remember the older brother making the comment to the younger brother, if you know something, you need to talk. And then I heard him make the comment, I know them two are tight and they'll lie for each other, that they've done it before and caused their mother much grief.
Now, what truck was he talking about? The white truck, Leilani's white truck, the one that Jalen was talking about?
Possibly full size. It's not that great of a truck. Like, the motor's about gone in it. I remember somebody making a comment, "Wow, look at that nice truck," but it it's not that nice. I mean, it looks nice on the outside, but I think the motor was about shot in it. The one, I think it's the one that showed the picture of Leilani driving.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, because when
Yes.
Jalen was on, Jalen is the babysitter before Diana. And Jalen, a lot of people were asking if Leilani has transportation. He said, I think she's still driving that white truck. And then you had mentioned the white truck. And now that Tommy was mad, saying, I don't want him even taking that truck. It's probably Tommy's truck, but he lets her drive.
Possibly. I never really heard who's. I think I heard it was his truck.
But you're just saying that, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, that basically Leilani, she shouts back at Billy saying, you lost Quinton, now you've lost me.
Yeah, but and really there wasn't that much. There wasn't that much. What's the word I'm looking for? Emotion. Those two was very emotionless. Like, I've been through the death of a child personally, and there was no emotion there. Or just say the baby's missing. At that point, we didn't know the baby was deceased. There was nothing. There was no emotion. There was no crying. There was none of that stutter breathing where you've been crying behind closed doors. There was nothing.
I'm not surprised. I'm not. Because I did see Leilani in the front yard and she was talking to another channel, and it was like the lights are on and no one's home. We also heard, I think it was WSAV, when they were camped out across the street or in the street, and they got them on video, because I say on video, we got the audio. Okay, we got the picture. And it was Leilani and Billy fighting, supposedly, and you heard Leilani yell My kid is gone. Leave me alone. My kid is gone. Leave me alone. I've got to find that clip again. And then, of course, throughout the weekend, we had Billy fighting with Diana. That was the weekend you were there, but I know you said you didn't know anything about that.
I wasn't there at that point. I could have been gone looking in different places. Um, but I do remember somebody walked down there from the house. Maybe that was the second day that I was with them. And actually, at that point, you couldn't see it from the house, but when you walked down and looked over catty corner from it, you could see that at that point there was a news reporter vehicle there. But like I said, I wasn't there the whole time. For the 2 days I was out looking, and the more I sit back and I've looked at this from, all right, when I first went in, I went in with no knowledge of anything. I didn't know who had custody. I didn't know what the family situation was or anything. But the more I sit back now and I'm looking at, like y'all are saying, they have this share banner on that cattle gate into the backyard. Where is pictures of the baby at? Nothing was posted.
Well, they didn't even want flyers posted around. That was one of the part of the argument with Diana. They were going to have a prayer circle, not a memorial, and post pictures all around. That was part of it, and it pissed Billy off. I think Billy was more mad. I agree with Angel P. I think Billy was more mad that Diana was on the news saying, I thought it was weird. They texted me that morning. The text came from Danny, and they use me whether they have to work or not. These aren't the type of people that are like, hey, we don't have to work today. Let's take the kids to the zoo. They're like, no, we're going to get stoned, and we have a babysitter either way. And for those that are just joining in, this is Curtis. He grabbed the link several weeks ago. He went to the house to volunteer to help find Quinton because he has lost a child himself. It's a very, very sad situation. And we've had him up a few times, basically just talking about the interactions of everything that he saw there because he was there a couple of afternoons. He's not an uncle. He's not a relative. I asked him point blank.
I have no affiliation with them. I know nothing. I know nothing about the situation. I just rolled into town and my father had mentioned something about a kid. And then at that point, I called a detective with Chatham County and told him I was going to come in and volunteer and look.
Mm-hmm.
But I know this family not one bit at all. But also, at the time when they was getting ready to leave, that's when Tommy was getting really irate. Danny is just like, I didn't have nothing to do with it. I'm trying to remember his words. I remember looking in his face when I was grabbing Tommy. It was just like a denial, or I don't know anything, but there was no anger. There was no nothing. It was just like scared, polite type thing. But also I remember Tommy saying that she's the puppet master in the relationship.
Billy.
No, Leilani.
Leilani is the puppet master. See,
is the puppet master.
The puppet master, because when Jalen was on, Jalen said if Danny did this, Leilani would say nothing because she's more concerned with her boyfriend's keeping a boyfriend, which makes sense now, than her children. And he told us some horrific things that had gone on. So of course they're blaming Danny, particularly Billy, who wasn't there. And I don't know where she's getting her information because Leilani is saying she has zero memory of the night and that the FBI, there's a little bit of an echo. I'm muting you, not because I don't want you to talk, Curtis, just because of the feedback. Billy is saying that this has got, Danny written all over it. Tommy even said, why don't you ask her boyfriend in North Carolina? He has all the answers. Okay. I am not about to say that he doesn't. I'm not about to say that he doesn't. I have a lot of questions. One, she's the prime suspect and they have not said a word about Danny. Doesn't mean that can't change by tomorrow. Supposedly he passed a polygraph test. I don't care about polygraph tests, but I am going to talk about it for a second. If an accident happened at home, why did he jump up, go to work, and come back? Unless he's part of a cover-up to make it look like Quinton was abducted. I don't know. If he truly just drowned, I shouldn't say just, drown in the bathtub or drown in the pool, why would you go to work? Why would you go to work? I'm going to assume when he went to work is when she was at the dumpster putting little Quinton in it. Residents told Fox News that FBI agents knocked on almost every door and showed them photos of Simon, Leilani, Quinton and his grandmother, Billy Joe Howell, and 3 other people. I want to know who the 3 other people are. I guarantee one's Danny, one's Paul. Who's the third? FBI agents went door to door showing pictures of Leilani Simon, Quinton and his grandmother, Billy Joe Howell, and 3 other people. We can put Danny in that 3 other people. They also asked the locals whether they had seen a particular car. The park, it's a trailer park. It's 2.8 miles from Simon's home. Do you know anything about this trailer park where the dumpster is, where they believe she put little Quinton?
I'm going to guess that's what they call it. That's the Azalea Mobile Home Park with a chevron right in the front of it on the highway on 17. That right there would be my only guess that they would be talking about the trailer park. Which there is another little small trailer park with a few trailers in it right around the corner on Burkhalter from their road, but it wouldn't be 2.8 miles. So I'm going to say they're talking about Azalea Mobile Home. And it's located right off Highway 17, which Burkhalter leads into 17 also, the road that they live on.
Okay, so roughly 3 miles.
Yeah. My aunt and uncle used to live in that had a place in there when I was younger, when I was a kid. Yeah.
Well, if he did get polygraphed, which I'm sure he did, the examiner probably didn't just ask flat out, did you kill Quinton? By then, they already knew that they had blamed, not they, but Leilani had blamed Bubba and said Bubba had him. Bubba snatched him. That's what I read in the Daily Mail. But they would have asked something like, do you have any knowledge of what happened to Quinton? So either he's really good and he showed no deception, or he clearly doesn't know. Did they mention anything about a polygraph test when you were there?
Polygraph test. I don't remember that. I do remember the DFAC, the Department of Family and Children Services, coming in and administering the drug test. I don't remember conversation of the polygraph.
No conversation of the polygraph.
Not while I was there. I don't know when the polygraph was taken, because the second day that I was there, I was gone a while. I went to a park a little bit further up than the trailer park. Uh, I just know over the years hearing the stories of bodies being dumped in that creek.
Oh, it's sad. It makes my stomach hurt. That's the thing. We have speculation about a bathtub, doors open, a swimming pool. Billy wasn't there. Billy was in Illinois. If Leilani can't remember, then it's just kind of a shot in the dark. But nobody mentions the fact that he's being looked for in a landfill. In a landfill. When I see those pictures of those people in that landfill, it makes me physically sick.
Yeah, I I have to agree with you on it. Um, it's just mind blowing. I mean, and
Well,
at times I'm just lost for the words to say about it. I mean,
Brett Buffington has been wanting to talk to Danny, and I'm all for that. All for that. He said, "Where's Daniel Youngkin? Police say he was the last person to see at Quinton Simon the morning the toddler went missing. His name is on the police report. What we know about his past and where we went looking for him." All right, so he's talking about how they're going to talk about it on the news. His cousin tweets and says, "The police know where my cousin is. This is sickening. We are not talking to any source of news or the drama-filled YouTube. YouTube, I understand. Go Danny. I understand that. I think it would actually help a little bit in a controlled environment, like I said, Nate Eaton style, if you know what I mean, if Danny would talk to like a Brett Buffington. I really do. Because they know what they can and can't ask. It's an ongoing investigation. They have people in the landfill right now looking for little Quinton. The cousin pops up and says, not going to talk to any source of news or drama-filled YouTube. YouTube, I get. What do you guys think? Let's take a little poll. Do you think that he should speak with Brett Buffington at WSAV? Put these rumors to rest. Put the rumors to rest, because the jury is going to come from Savannah, Georgia, most likely. I don't think they're going to do a change of venue at this point. I mean, today anyway.
I hope they don't do a change of venue. The more I sit back and I watch it, should Danny speak? Legality, I don't know. Law wise, yes, no. Personally, yeah, why not clear your name if you're innocent? Why not? But it boils back to what Tommy said that day. She's the puppet master and he's the puppet in that relationship. She pulls the strings and he's the puppy.
That's what the babysitter from before Diana was saying too. And
That's
it's
what Tommy said to me, that she is the puppet master and he's the puppet in that relationship.
well, and it really, well, it's scary actually when Jalen was talking about the fights that Leilani would have. I mean, physical fights with boyfriend.
Well, The younger brother, the one who went out on the porch to smoke at 10 something when the alarm system showed the front door was open. He had mentioned something about fighting and arguing in the house, and he said he would just turn the TV up to drown them out some.
Mm.
I think he's 20, 21-ish. He was a young fella. And then the older brother, I'm going to say Joe, maybe is his name, if I remember right. He's the one that had the app. It noticed the ADT alarm, the ADT thing saying that the back door was open from 2 to 5 or 5:45 or whatever the minutes was.
Mm. Well, because that's what's going around right now, that the doors were open till 5 something in the morning, and
And he could have said the exact time that day when I was there, but to me, 2 to 5 ish. I just rounded it just to be able to keep track of what I was listening to. And that's the reason why I always was thinking the pool.
Blonde Fox says, I have a feeling Danny is going to be a witness for the state. Most definitely. Most definitely. So is Diana. So is Diana. I keep hearing this from 2 people that know his friend. It's also been said the test proved he's not Sky's dad. Oh, God.
Sky, is that the baby?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't heard nothing. I haven't been keeping up with it too much, except for what I've been listening to you on your cast. But I don't. I don't know. I have no knowledge, no answer for that one. I wonder if the same family has the youngins that they was taking the needed stuff to that evening when I was there. Or if DFAX or whatever y'all call it out in other places of the country, CPS or whatever, if they removed them completely and put them in the foster system, or if the children are still at the families, probably about 6 miles from the home.
Where the kids were at the time?
When I was there, the kids was gone. That's all I know. And when they left in the truck after the altercation with Tommy and everything, maybe an aunt. I don't know. I don't know how they were maybe kin, but I just remember Tommy saying, "Well, I'm calling. I'm going to see what time they arrived with this stuff, and I'm going to find out when they leave because they're not riding around in my truck looking for drugs." So yes, that is Tommy's white truck.
And that's what he said.
Yeah. He said, "I know how long it should take to get from here to there and there to here."
Diane said, if Billy knows something, she should have told it early on. It's probably too late. I don't see how.
It's never too late.
No, and I don't see how she could know anything because she was in another state. She was in another state. When I heard her on the news, and this is before I knew that she wasn't supposed to leave the kids with Leilani. Leilani was not supposed to be around the kids. I read that in the court document or whatever that was that went around. And we could figure it out anyway, because people were hopping in comments by noon on October 5th saying, let's be real, the kids weren't supposed to be around Leilani anyway. But anyway, when I saw her on there, and like I said, she was fit to be tied. She was in anguish over her grandson. And then, of course, her daughter. She said sometimes she does real good, sometimes she does real bad. I don't know what to think anymore. But now she's had time to think. Now she's had time to think.
And she was like that when I met with them. She was all distraught. I mean, that's the reason why I was like, no. And at that point, I did not know of the situation of the who had custody of the children and all that. I walked into a family missing a child. And I mean, to me, she was distraught and I was on her side. But the more I've sat back and I've watched this unfold, it's like, wow, I couldn't believe that I can due to what I've been through. But on the other hand, I can't believe it that I was blinded to it. But like I said, me going in and meeting with this family, I I didn't know any of the background at all. All I knew was you have a family with a missing child.
Well, and I do want to know more about Danny. I don't think Danny is off the table by any means. I'm not
There's
saying that he did anything, but I want to, they keep bringing Danny up. They keep bringing Danny up.
well, isn't it easier to shift some blame away from the family member to a non-family member?
Oh, yeah. But if on one hand you don't care who it is, which of course you're going to care, there's a big difference between it being your own child that is responsible for your grandchild being searched for in a landfill or her boyfriend. There's a big difference. So, of course, she cares. Of course, she cares. But I want to know more about. You said his demeanor was very devoid of emotion. We saw him on Twitter playing pool with his friends in Hotlanta. I think it's weird if there was some sort of bad accident that happened at the house that he went to work. He didn't let Diana come in and search. He told her no. And that he has not been named as any suspect or person of interest. I have a feeling that since it's Leilani and Leilani only in the chief's mouth, they have something very damning on Leilani, but obviously not enough to arrest her.
Is there the possibility that Danny doesn't know anything? Maybe he walked by and seen something in the crib, um, or the bassinet, or whatever this youngin was sleeping in. The bed, 20-month-old, probably not a crib anymore. Um, maybe he doesn't.
Yeah, what's
But
going on in chat? We don't roll like this. What's going on? Liz Hernandez says this chat is full of hate. What is going on? We just agree to disagree. We're talking about little Quinton. We're talking about little Quinton, and we are all on the same page about little Quinton. If we're fighting amongst ourselves, we can't do any good for little Quinton. So whoever is in chat, we're here for little Quinton. I don't see her. I've seen Nana's Love pop up a couple of times. She's welcome to grab the link. Just to be welcoming and do like we always do.
the one thing I do know is when I was there, the family was pointing their fingers at her.
At Leilani.
Yes. Well, they were saying both. But like you say, she's out of town. He was out of town. Who really knows? There's only a few people in that house that knows.
Well, and that's what I keep hearing, that there's this accident. He's been talked to 5 times. I don't know where the hell that came from.
Who had been talked to 5 times?
Nanny.
All I know is one day when I was there, they were gone. And it was brought to my attention that he had, I don't know if he was gone or they were both gone, because I just hung out in the back. At one point when I returned there, I don't know if I had left and went and looked somewhere or something and come back, but he was gone and he was being questioned. And then a little while later, I guess somebody, I don't know who, dropped him off because he come walking up into the backyard.
Well, and my thing is, I don't understand why you call Diana and ask if she's seen Quinton, but then don't let her come in and help search for him.
I believe, honestly, the more I look back, Billy knew more in advance than what was led on, than what I seen. Because for you to be missing a child at that point, I would say the baby would be considered missing. When I arrived, it was a day or two later. And for them to just automatically blame them and start saying, what happened, I do believe, honestly, Billy had to know a little more.
I'm sure by the time you got there, a lot of reality had sunk in, because it was on WSAV. It was either that Thursday or Friday night, right after Quinton went missing. He went missing on Wednesday. So it was either on the Thursday broadcast or the Friday broadcast where they're in the backyard screaming at each other.
And that wouldn't surprise me none, because like I said, I came in, what was that, Saturday and Sunday, Friday and Saturday? I can't remember my dates. But it was the same thing there too. At that point.
And basically what you've said, just your opinion, it's just, the whole thing is just appalling. It is just appalling. How can you look at little Quinton? How can you look at little Quinton and your heart not break? The whole thing is appalling.
And that's like, at that point, I didn't know nothing about the other son and Billy Joe's boyfriend's past. I just remember I remember watching Billy, or hearing Billy crying and saying, both my Quintons aren't home no more, or something.
Did you know at the time? Well, you wouldn't have known.
No, I did not know of the background of the other son and Billy's ex-boyfriend / drug deal went bad, or whatever it was I heard. Like I said, I came into it blind.
And then when you spoke to the police,
that was the first day. Yes, the first afternoon.
No, I mean after the weekend when you were there and you told them about the interaction that you had.
Yes, I think that was the first day, because I went and parked at an old place I was employed back behind their house, because there was so much water in the area. It was the first evening, afternoon.
But the police had already heard what you had said or something like that. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
When I was first approached by them, I had walked down some railroad tracks looking, and I'm like, you know what? This is too thick. No baby. There's no way a child could have wandered off into this. And as I was coming back, I remember calling the place, Miller Painting, and saying, hey, I'm kind of off of the track a little bit. I'm making sure I'm coming up on the back of the property. And they're like, yeah, you need to hurry up and get here. We're getting ready to close. You need to move your truck. Um, And when I came up, that's when the police and stuff was there, and they questioned me. They're like, "Well, this looks strange. You're just out of town and out here doing this." And it took a few minutes, and I explained to them, and that's when I had to show them my phone. Hey, I'm not good with keeping track of everything. That's when I pulled my phone out, went through the call logs, went and showed I had just come in from Florida, and that the night before that, before I went to Savannah, I had been in another place camping and fishing. I took that night when I came in, I went there, and then I came into Savannah. Um, that's when they started questioning me, and I showed them the phone log, my phone. I was like, hey, it's easier, it's simpler for me to just do this, so there's no way I can get mixed up. Because without the phone, I probably would have. And that's when I pulled it out, and they're like, oh, okay, we know these numbers. I'm like, yeah, I called a detective and let him know several hours earlier I was actually on my way into Savannah. And when they finally cleared it, we pulled my truck out of their parking lot, parked it on the side of the road. I got into the SUV with the driver and another officer. He sat in the back with me. And they asked me a few questions about who was there, who was at the house, and went by the house. I'm like, yeah, this is the house I've been at. This is them, blah, 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 blah. And that was my interaction with the police department. And then when I spoke with you again, I don't remember how long it was after that. That's when you said, well, then that's when I called the detective again, and they were just like quick to shut me down. Yeah, we know everything. You really ain't gonna tell us nothing new.
And they do that.
And I mean, I understand you have a live hotline. How many calls are coming in? Okay, we know we've done spoke with you. Blah blah blah. All right, we already have all that information.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering how much do they actually have versus how hard they're just waiting to come down.
I don't know if it's just the whole clock starting. I can only speculate because I'm not privy to that information. I just don't think it was the smartest move for the chief to name her as a suspect. Keeping it under the vest, or what do they say, close to the vest or whatever, might have been a smarter move, because of course people are going, well, then just arrest her. Obviously you have to have evidence. So either they're still building a case and trying to get that last bit, I don't know, or they want to exhaust all their efforts to find Quinton. I don't know. I don't know.
It would be one of those things. I guess you want to make sure all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed, because it could be a situation where one thing could be off and it could cause her to walk.
And we damn sure don't want that. We certainly don't want that. That's why when I saw that thing about the Casey Anthony 3-part deal that's coming out, and I'm like, well, what a coinky dink. What a coinky dink. Well, Curtis, I appreciate you coming up, and didn't mean to take up so much of your time. I really wanted to get an idea of how Danny was acting that day, because I didn't know if that had ever really been discussed before. And
He was he was just calm. I mean, like I said, neither one of them showed much emotion. Um, Even when Leilani told him, "You've lost Quinton, now me," and then that's when they were getting into the truck to leave to take, I think, WIC vouchers, formula, diapers over to where the children would be at. Um, and then when Danny was charging towards him, he's just like, "I have nothing to do with this. I don't know what's going on. I know nothing." But I mean, there was really no facial expression change in any of the situation with those two.
Good God.
And maybe just, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's being cool, calm, and collect to try to find out what everything he knows to turn evidence against her.
Well,
She event
He's a witness because Diana says the text came from him. Now, of course, there's a ton of speculation that the text came from Leilani, but used his phone.
Well, the thing is also is the day before, I think they said, all right, that morning, the day before, all right, the baby went missing. The day before, she had dental work done and was most likely prescribed, I think, probably a painkiller or so. Um, if she's in that kind of shape, why not send the child to the babysitter?
I never heard anything about a dentist appointment or anything.
Yeah,
I did.
I remember hearing something about dental work. Um, and my thought was after I heard about the babysitter call afterwards, I'm like, well, if you've had a tooth pulled or something and you're eating pain pills, why not let the babysitter take the children for the day? Why call or text and say, "Hey, we don't need you today"?
Well, from what Diana said to the news, and she has said it on her Facebook Live several times, is that it was odd to her that they said Danny texted, and she said she didn't have a problem with Danny because Danny was usually the one that said, "Do you have enough diapers? Do you have enough wipes?" and all that stuff. But they would say that they didn't need her at all because she said whether they go to work or not, they would still use me. I'm still wondering why. Of course, you can't. Maybe I don't know. I doubt you can answer this. Why Diana didn't keep the children overnight if Leilani was not supposed to be alone with her children? Well, with Zane and Quinton.
Now, wasn't there something in that came out after we spoke the first time about that, where it was mentioned that Billy Joe and the abuse and stuff, and Billy Joe mentioned, "Well, you keep them," and then, never mind, she's just a young parent. Let's give her a chance or something.
Yeah, I heard something like that. Well, hindsight is a bitch.
But the thing is if I'm a babysitter and I'm babysitting your child, and your child comes to me abused and banged up and belt marks or whatever I've heard since all this has went down, I don't think I believe I'd have called CPS right then. "Hey, this child's here. I've got it, and here's the situation." Because, hey, I'm old. I'm old school. If you there's a point, 2 years old, tap your baby on the diaper, calm down. But there should not, with your hand, just a little soft tap. There's no way belts or belt bruises or anything should have been on that child.
Well, Diana also said she didn't know where the bruises came from. And then she also said later, I believe this was on her Facebook, she said it in comments, it wasn't a separate post, that she has been threatened by the family. So
Well,
she's going to dial that back.
yeah, well, if I was threatened by the family of a child I'm babysitting that's coming to me looking abused, that should set off more bells.
Well, I mean, there was other neighbors on the news saying that, the kids were out in the street and stuff. It's not just Diana.
And I agree, but what I'm looking at is, and I'm not blaming Diana one bit, the babysitter. I just look at it as Diana, the babysitter, is a caretaker of that child too. And if I was in that spot, I don't care who threatened me or what position I was in, I would have had to call somebody.
Kara said the state of Georgia is currently investigating and deciding on whether Billy Joe will face gross negligent charges. They are pushing for an arrest warrant for her.
Well, why don't they push for the arrest warrant of Leilani?
We'd all want to know. I don't know.
mean, and I'm not saying it's protecting Billy, because at first I was like, no, I'm not putting no blame on the grandmother on this until I found out the whole situation. But if they're going to push for negligent charges on Billy, why not Leilani?
Maybe because they don't have Quinton yet. Maybe because it's too circumstantial. I don't know.
And then what I'm hearing is they coerce. So it sounds like a coerced thing. Oh, maybe you did it and don't remember.
And it can be more than one. The jail has more than one bed. It's not one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know. You want to watch this court TV thing with me real quick?
Yeah. What do I pull that up on?
I'm putting it on the screen. On court TV last night, I haven't gotten through all of it, but I did get to this part, and they had what's his name? They'll say it in a second. Anyway, they had several people weigh in, and remember, when people have experts on panel, whether they're former law enforcement, current law enforcement, attorneys, or whatever, they still don't know the case. They don't know what the police have in the file per se. So they're just giving their expert opinion. I kind of had a conversation with someone the other day saying, well, the experts have weighed in. And I said, but the experts aren't the people with the case. They're giving a more educated opinion. So because they say it doesn't mean that's what it is. But this is interesting where they talk about, and we've talked about on this channel many times, the dynamics between Billy and Leilani.
Their daughter dynamic, and I'm talking about Quinton's mom and Quinton's grandma. To me, that is the crucial relationship, and where some answers have to come out of. I mean, they're all in this house together.
That is the crucial relationship, because as we know, the grandmother had some power and had some say over what was going on based off of what she'd known her daughter's behaviors being. So when you're looking at that type of dynamic, right, there can be this internal power struggle that can happen. And with some of the toxic dynamics that we do know, that can include manipulation. I mean, it can include so many things, especially what's being reported as far as being evicted from the home, right? That can be demonstrated as another power move, which can also make someone from an emotional state react in a very maybe not the healthiest way. So I do believe when we look at that family dynamic, the mother and that daughter relationship is a very important one, because then we'll understand how poor little Quinton may have been either a pawn or been used to kind of be in that power struggle, which we often see in these types of family dynamics.
And Dr. Jane Lacey's down in Orlando. Dr. Carol Lieberman, I was in Orlando for a long time covering a trial down there. Same type of dynamics we're talking about. Kaylee Marie Anthony's grandmother, during the death penalty trial of her daughter, from my perspective, was doing everything she could to protect her daughter during that trial. Talk about this difficult position of being the mother, potentially, of your grandchild's killer. Potentially. That conflict that a grandparent would go through.
They have had a very volatile relationship from long before Quinton was born. You know, you can tell from things that are going on today. So, for example, behind her daughter's back, the grandmother is talking to the father of Quinton saying, "Oh, I think it was my daughter and her boyfriend, taking drugs." On the other hand, the mother and daughter were, when the police were looking for Quinton, were drinking together at a bar, all buddy. I think it's been like that for their life, that it's been too close in a sense and too far apart. It's been this very confusing dynamic for Leilani, and very difficult. And the mother has a rap sheet, the grandmother has a rap sheet and so on. She has 3 children, to my knowledge, and Leilani and 2 boys. And all of them have gotten in trouble with the law, including the grandmother, who's had 18 arrests. So of course it's going to be up and down and over and under in that family.
Jason Jensen, I want you to take a look with me here what the Chatham County Sheriff's Office has said about the latest in the landfill search. After thousands of hours of investigating and gathering evidence, everything still points to Quinton being recovered in the landfill and his mother, Leilani Simon, as the primary suspect in his death and disappearance. We spent 2 weeks digging through thousands of tons of garbage. We knew going into this landfill search, the odds of recovering Quinton's remains were low. Most landfill searches do not end in a recovery due to many factors, including volume of trash to search and compression of the debris. However, we stay focused.
As if that isn't some of the most disturbing shit you've ever had to read or hear. We have spent 2 weeks digging through thousands of tons of garbage. Now, this was from a before tweet. We have spent 2 weeks digging through thousands of tons of garbage. We knew going into this landfill search, the odds of recovering Quinton's remains were low. Most landfill searches do not end in a recovery due to many factors, including volume of trash to search and compression of the debris. However, we stay focused. I was talking about, what's her name? Lori Hacking. And I was looking at different landfill searches. She's not a 20-month-old baby. She's a grown-ass woman. It took them from the end of July to, I want to say, the first or second week of October, and they found a part of her jaw. If you all remember that story, he's in that landfill somewhere, because these agents from Quantico, Virginia would not be down there unless they said, we need to check all these boxes before we go down in that landfill. It is awful. When I even think about this landfill thing, it's beyond disturbing. It is beyond disturbing. That's the reason I'm not up here taking up for any of these adults that were around Quinton.
It seems very clear that there's nothing that is waving them away from the search of that landfill and the focus on Leilani. So there has to be some very compelling evidence that we haven't learned about.
Right, Vinny. Well, one of the things that really stands out to me, as being a cold case investigator that I am, I always look for flaws in an investigation that may potentially turn the case cold. Here, what we do know factually is that the FBI was brought in at 1 o'clock that day, the day that Quinton disappeared. And I would imagine that they used technology to trace phones for the individuals in the home. And one of the things that probably led them to suspect Leilani is GPS data. Because they said later on that the reason why they're searching the landfill is they traced the lead from a specific dumpster at a specific location. Well, if they're saying that Leilani went to a dumpster and that's why they think that they're going to find Quinton at the landfill, the problem that I see is maybe the trip to the dumpster was to get rid of contraband, because we do know that this family has a history of chronic substance abuse. So if they were getting rid of contraband, it may have nothing to do with the body, and they're looking through a landfill for no reason at all.
All right, we'll continue our discussion. We've got a lot more to get to, including baby Quinton's babysitter. Someone from outside the home who may have a lot of information has been speaking out on TikTok. We'll show you what she's saying, and we'll bring back our experts.
I am serious when I see the mountains of trash. Think about what we throw away. I don't want to get too gruesome. Think about what we throw away. I don't know if it was the show from last Thursday or the show before for Quinton, and I was talking about various, and there's many, lawsuits where people just live in somewhat of a close proximity of a landfill. I don't mean right next door. I don't mean in the damn thing, like where Quinton and the searchers from Quantico, Virginia are, just in close proximity. And they're suing the county, the city, Waste Management, TriStar, one of them, because they have chronic illnesses that can only be explained from being too close to the landfill. And yet we have little Quinton in a landfill. When I saw Billy and Leilani standing in front of the garage door, talking about how a sympathizer, someone who can't have children, maybe they're feeding him, all of that stuff Leilani was, trying to look crazy saying. And Billy said, we just hope, they don't find him in that landfill. I was like, no, you hope they don't find him. You hope they don't find him. Well, they are, even if they don't find him, I don't believe for a minute, with the power they have in this case, the FBI, that they're not going to build one hell of a circumstantial case. And all of these stories about doors open, doors shut, blasting music, she can't remember, the FBI told her she couldn't remember, Bubba had him, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. It's absolutely sick. It is absolutely sick.
They have a lot of information, has been speaking out.
And so I look back at this case, Vinny, and I think there's a couple things that are not being said. Again, we talked about it a little bit on the show tonight, but there's a couple of hours that they're either out by the pool partying or doing something, but that back door is open and there's some activity going on. Could it be that it's activity moving and getting rid of evidence or staging a scene to look like something different? But there's not a lot being said about that. We have that text message. We have the boyfriend leaving for work. Well, what happened to the boyfriend? Why isn't he there supporting Leilani and being a part of all this? That's what's not being said to me, and it makes me wonder if there's something that's been said in discussions with law enforcement. If she's made admissions, he's made admissions, not confessions necessarily, but things that might lead up to this thing. We're not talking much about the fact that they went back and they checked that swimming pool out. There's a reason they did that. Was it that the child, when somebody...
We just lost our connection to Mike King. We'll get that back in a second. In the meantime, I want to show you some of the TikTok videos and pictures and images posted by Diana McCarter. She's the babysitter for little Quinton. Take a look at these images. We've been showing them tonight, and it's interesting that it's the babysitter who was posting these. And this is a missing child. If your child is actually missing, then you would want those images everywhere. And in today's world, with TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything else that exists, you could get that image everywhere if you were trying. If you were trying. Let's take a listen to more of Diana McCarty here talking again about the case, about what she potentially knows on her TikTok feed.
I am going to tell you that everything that I've said from the beginning has stayed the same because it's the truth. I never seen abuse with these kids as far as hitting. I've seen 2 bruises, and I couldn't tell you if they hit him or not. It could have been an accident by them falling.
Now, I also want to show you what she told Fox News in an interview. And she hasn't given a ton of interviews because of some criticism that she's getting from outside folks. I still don't understand it, why you would do that, but they have. Here's what she said. She said she'd been watching Simon's 3 children for about 9 months before Quinton's disappearance. 9 months, that's like half of his life. Said that her 16-year-old daughter found Quinton and Zane alone in the family's full-size backyard pool over the summer. The children cannot swim. Wow. Every time they come over here, we bathed them. They were dirty. We fed them good because they were always hungry, said the sitter who lives across the street. Definitely, there was neglect there. Okay, and I understand,
All right, it's just my opinion, but I'm going to run it by you guys. You guys are my friends. Let's have a friend talk. Let's have a chat. Do you think it's time for Diana to stop talking? Because what she said to WSAV, I believe it was the night of Quinton's disappearance on the 5th, or maybe it was the 6th, when she said they texted me at 5:30 that morning. I thought it was weird because they always use me, whether they're working or not. That was enough for me. That was enough. The name of my first show was No Foul Play My Ass. Are you kidding me? This has got foul play written all over it. Whether he had an accident in that home and these 2 were high as a kite and covered it up, that's still foul and it's still criminal and they will be in jail. Most of the time, people that are drunk, high, or whatever and all passed out, they can't do anything. They're incapacitated. Every excuse in the book except for, why are they searching the landfill? Why? Loose lips sink ships. I do think to stop the narrative, to stop the accident narrative, because if Danny is seriously talking to people saying he did drown, yeah, it could have been in the bathtub, he's just making himself guilty too. But he could stop all of this today and talk to Brett Buffington. Now, mind you, it's going to be an explosion of people picking apart what he said, but it's going to shut down what he's being accused of right now. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Then when I see this, the landfill search for Quinton Simon's remains will be suspended on Thursday and resume Monday as coastal Georgia prepares for what will likely be Tropical Storm Nicole arriving on Friday. Gotta be kidding me. It can't get any worse for little Quinton. Let's thank Curtis for coming up and talking to us. We're, talking about his conversation that he had with them. He's a nice guy. He's going to be going through this tropical storm too because he lives nearby. Everybody else that's there, I guess it's going to be hitting on Friday. So hunker down or leave town altogether. Be safe. And in the meantime, I'm going to start shutting this down. You guys are awesome, awesome. I know it got a little crazy there for a minute. That's okay. That's okay. We're all friends here. We don't get down like that. So I'm off to my day. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If I don't see you over in Discord or one of the Facebook groups, then I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You guys are the best chat and you are the best community on YouTube. I will see you soon.